Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Kopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtota Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Fourth canto, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 22, Prithu Maharaj meeting with the four Kumaras, Text 14. Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna
Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna.
Atmarameshu Neshyate
Atmarameshu Neshyate.
Kushala Yatra
Kushala Yatra.
Nasanti Mativrittayaha
Santi Mativittayaha.
Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna
Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna.
Atmarameshu Neshyate
Atmarameshu Neshyate.
Kushala Yatra
Kushala Yatra.
Nasanti Mativrittayaha
Santi Mativittayaha.
Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna
Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna.
Atmarameshu Neshyate
Atmarameshu Neshyate.
Kushala Yatra
Kushala Yatra.
Nasanti Mativrittayaha
Santi Mativittayaha. Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna. Atmarameshu Neshyate. Kushala Yatra. Nasanti Mativittayaha. Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna. Atmarameshu Neshyate. Kushala Yatra. Nasanti Mativittayaha. Bhavatsu Kushala Prashna. Atmarameshu
Bhavatsu, unto you. Kushala, good fortune. Prashnaha, question. Atma arameshu, one who is always engaged in spiritual bliss. Na ishyate, there is no need of. Kushala, good fortune. Akushalaya, inauspiciousness. Yatra, where. Na, never. Santi, exists. Mati vrittayaha, mental concoction. Translation. Prithu Maharaj continued, my dear sirs, there is no need to ask about your good and bad fortune because you are always absorbed in spiritual bliss. The mental concoction of the auspicious and inauspicious does not exist in you. Purport. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, Chapter 4, text 176, it is said, Dvaite Badra Badra Gana Sabha Mano Dharma E Bala E Manda E Sabha Brahma. In this material world, the auspicious and inauspicious are simply mental concoctions because such things exist only due to association with the material world. This is called illusion, or Atma Maya. We think ourselves created by material nature exactly as we think ourselves experiencing so many things in a dream. The spirit soul, however, is always transcendental. There is no question of becoming materially covered. This covering is simply something like a hallucination or a dream. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 62, it is also said, Sanga sanjayata kama. Simply by association we create artificial material necessities. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangas teshu pajayate. When we forget our real constitutional position and wish to enjoy the material resources, our material desires manifest, and we associate with varieties of material enjoyment. As soon as the concoctions of material enjoyment are there, because our association, we create a sort of lust or eagerness to enjoy them. And when that false enjoyment does not actually make us happy, we create another illusion known as anger. And by the manifestation of anger, the illusion becomes stronger. When we are illusioned in this way, forgetfulness of our relationship with Krishna follows, and thus by losing Krishna consciousness, our real intelligence is defeated. In this way, we become entangled in this material world. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 63, it is said, Krodhad bhaviti sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti brahmshad buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashati. By material association, we lose our spiritual consciousness. Consequently, there is the question of the auspiciousness and inauspiciousness. Of the auspicious and inauspicious. But those who are Atmarama, or self-realized, have transcended such questions. The Atmaramas, or self-realized persons, gradually making further progress in spiritual bliss, come to the platform of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the perfection of life. In the beginning, the Kumaras were self-realized and personless, but gradually they became attracted to the personal pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The conclusion is that for those who are always engaged in the devotional service of the Personality of Godhead, the duality of the auspicious and inauspicious does not arise. Prithu Maharaj is therefore asking about auspiciousness, not for the sake of the Kumaras, but for his own sake. Om Ikyanatipadandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karitavachalam Pangam Langaite Girim Yad Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Diditarinam Vancha Kapadribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You think you could go upstairs and then on that my little shelf there with all the bottles, you'll see a piece of paper, like a big piece of paper there that says, what are your concerns? Earthquake or homeless or this, that. So I'll read the translation again. Prithu Maharaj continued, "My dear sirs, there's no need to ask about your good and bad fortune because you're always absorbed in spiritual bliss. The mental concoction of the auspicious and inauspicious does not exist in you." So, Prithu Maharaj here is telling the Kumaras and telling us that transcendentalist, what it means to be a transcendentalist is that we're supposed to be transcendental to this world and the dualities of this world. It means that we're not so bothered by the dualities of this world or focused on them, good and bad and this and that. Now that doesn't mean that it gives some license for transcendentalists to be bad, means bad behavior, but it means they're above that. And they're also above good behavior, means they're on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. Right? Yep, thank you. They're on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Just, in other words, their concerns are completely different than practically everybody else's concerns. Means the mundane, materialist concerns. And just for example, when transcendentalists they meet each other, like when people meet, they have different ways of asking, "How are you?" Right? If you're a big businessman or woman, you say, "Oh, how's the business? You making lots of money?" Right? That's a way that you greet each other. And some people they say, "Oh, how's your health?" Right? Or how are you doing? Right? That's a common thing. But a transcendentalist, they'll say, "How is your endeavor? How are you doing in your endeavors to conquer the cycle of birth and death?" That's what because that's their concern. How am I going to get out of this samsara davan lila loka, right? The burning fire of material existence. Or how is your endeavor of helping people get out of the burning fire of material existence? In other words, how is your preaching endeavors? So it's a different concerns that a transcendentalist has. Recently, we get all types of interesting mail from like devotees from 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we get mail from someone who was a temple president like 25 years ago. Sam Rogers, that's for Janjanananda Prabhu. And we get Sanjeev Maharaj, that's Sikhi Mahiti. Even Gunagraj Swami. We got some mail recently from him. Oh, P.R.A. Charan. Yeah. And I gave that mail to Leela Sar. She wanted to hold on to Gunagraj Swami's mail. I don't know what it was. I forgot, but it was... No, it was just some kind of, random business mail, they're saying. But she wanted to hold on to it because, she has attachment to him. So we got mail here. We get mail from all the old brahmacharis too. Carlos and Suki Bhakta and everybody. Krishna Kumar and get all the bunch of mail coming here all the time. It's hard. I tried to send it back. I tried to give it back to the mail to the post office. I said, we don't have, these people aren't here anymore. Can you just stop delivering it? And they said, oh, it's very difficult because if you have people coming in and out of your place, because the mail goes to the post office, and the post office they take it here, but they can't sort through it everything and throw it away. So, yeah. So anyways, we got some more mail from Mr. Samuel J. Shenton, that is Hasagrami. So, and it has to do with what we're talking about here. So, but it's saying looking ahead, 2020, right? And it's some, it's a survey for California, important survey inside. So the survey is what matters most to you, right? And it lists different things. It says what matters most: homelessness, climate change, wildfire prevention, streets and roads, housing affordability, public transportation, funding for schools, public safety. So other, it says other, which I guess you could write something there. And I'm not sure if you're able to, because when there's that question of what matters most to you, usually that means out of all of these, what matters most to you. But all of them, you could say a lot of people, not necessarily. Yeah, this, let's see. Oh, you can mark more than one, okay. I would suspect a lot of people are marking all of them because they're all a bit of a problem. Yeah. So you could say, okay, this is dealing with this material world, right? Good and bad, but a lot of the times, like these people, they don't, the government and leaders or so-called leaders, they don't really focus on the real problem. Like these are problems, obviously. Like San Francisco's becoming so much of it, actually. I mean, I don't know how full it is, full of homeless, drug addict people, but I heard there's a problem up there, big problem. Interesting because it's such a beautiful city, San Francisco, very historic and, artsy and beautiful, and it's just becoming completely overloaded with a bunch of homeless people who are like, yeah.
But I read that a lot of the homeless people, they don't come from Oakland.
Oh, they're coming from San Francisco. Yeah, because the housing prices are so expensive. So, yeah, you could say that's a problem. Or all these other things, right? Streets, roads, this, that, public safety, funding for schools, so housing affordability. A lot of people, they think, okay, these things are problems. But, again, the leaders, they don't go to the root of the problem, and the root of the problem is people are not religious, or people are not dharmic, or people are not Krishna conscious. People aren't loving Krishna. Because once you put Krishna in the center, then naturally all these things will fall in place. Affordable housing, taking care of the environment, homeless, everything's just completely with one sweep taken care of. Rather than nowadays, people, men, women, they want to make up all their own rules and own laws, and they want to own priorities, right? They don't want to follow Manu. I'm just joking. They don't want to follow Manu, right, or the laws of Manu. Which Srila Prabhupada, we were discussing this yesterday. Prabhupada, of course, Manu Samhita, some people are really freaked out about Manu Samhita. In India, there's people, Indians who burn Manu Samhita because there's some pretty heavy stuff there about punishing of people who do crimes and so on. But the idea is that these laws that Manu created, or that our acharyas created, or that the Vedic scriptures created, they're actually sanctioned by Krishna, and that they're laws ultimately coming from Krishna. And nowadays, people, they want to make up their own laws. Means governments, right? And they put a lot of stress on these things, whatever it may be. Okay, legalize marijuana. Don't legalize marijuana. Let's spend so much time and money discussing this, or homosexual marriage, or this or that, or so many different things, right? So things become very easy if we're able to just follow Krishna. that, okay, Krishna, he has this whole way of life and the whole way we're supposed to live, and if we just follow that, we could become happy, become satisfied, everything works out. But these people, they don't want to focus on that. Why? Because they're a bunch of the Bhagavatam says, animals. That's what the Bhagavatam says. Yeah, dvipadapachu. It means, did you get that email recently from my spiritual master? You elected him? Did you get that email? You must have got it. Do you think you could check? Because he sent an email out recently entitled "You Elect Him," and it's a comment from. Oh, you're not on the Sangha? Oh, that's too bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada. Are you on the Sangha group? Giridhar Priya, do you get emails from my spiritual master? Oh, okay. Do you think you could look up that email that he just sent out recently? It's entitled "You Elected Him." Okay. Because I want to read that because it has to do with the talk. So the Bhagavatam says that these people are completely unqualified. Why? Because their consciousness or their heart or their intelligence, their very being has been completely hijacked by what? By material desire. Completely by material desire. Which Srila Prabhupada says here, forces one to get on this, you could say, mundane platform in which they don't focus on what's important, namely Krishna consciousness, the welfare of others, right? They just focus on the most important thing within their mind. And you know who that is? Themselves. And their little clan, their little group, right? And everybody else, in very severe cases, they could care less about. They could even, remove in different ways from. So they become completely bewildered. And this is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Sangat sanjayate kama. So, dayato vishayan pumsa, sangaste subhajayate, sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodha bijayate. So it says that one focuses on the objects of the senses and then become attracted. And then from that, the strong desires develop to have or to enjoy a particular sense object. And then from that, some illusion, complete illusion arises. And then one falls, destruction of memory, destruction of intelligence, so memory, intelligence, and falls down in the material pool. So in other words, we have to control our mind. And in the Bhagavatam it says that there's so many, that people think there's so many enemies, right, outside. But it says the real enemy is just an uncontrolled mind. So we have to control the mind. Kevin likes to always tell this little story that he was doing traveling Sankirtan. Kevin used to go out and distribute books, traveling Sankirtan. And he used to wear saffron too, he was a brahmachari here. And then he was out distributing books, and he said he stopped by one temple, and Vyasaki Prabhu, the great singer Vyasaki, was singing. He was singing Mangalarti. And he said that Bhakti Avatar was there with, it was Vyasaki, Bhakti Avatar, Bhakti Kevin, and they're all singing in Mangalarti together. And then Bhakti Avatar, I think it was in Phoenix or somewhere. And then Kevin and Bhakti Avatar, they were having a hard time following Vyasaki because he was, whatever he was doing, the tune, they were singing the wrong tune, the wrong part of the melody. And then Vyasaki stopped the kirtan and said, "Hey, Prabhu, you got to follow. You got to follow the kirtan." And then So then Kevin said him and his Sankirtan buddy, they kind of started singing very slowly or very softly, so Vyasaki wouldn't get disturbed. But Bhakti-avatar, Prabhu, he kept on singing loudly, but he wasn't able. He was falling off the tune, So Vyasaki was starting to get a little upset. And then Vyasaki stopped the kirtan and he said, "You got to control your mind, Prabhu. You got to control." He's like, "You got to control your mind, Prabhu." So. Anyways, Kevin mentioned that you got to control your mind, but it's true. We have to control our minds. So do you find that? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I can. So this is to control your mind. Oh, I don't know. It's just. I don't know. Vyasaki just said that, and Kevin picks up all these little funny stories from over the years, and he just repeats them. Because Vyasaki has a very distinct voice, like so. Yeah. So it's just a little funny. He could be trained. Okay, so this is, when I always say okay so, I think of like queso, like queso, that's like cheese in Spanish. Okay so, anyways. Don't go there, yeah. So, Hare Krishna. So this is in relation to people and leaders, and people, and specifically leaders, people being absorbed on the material platform and not really knowing what is ultimately good, and just being focused on the so-called goodness or badness of this world, and not really knowing how to guide people, and not having true knowledge. And therefore they themselves are bewildered by these desires, Sangha, Sanjaya Kama, and their followers are also bewildered. So this is something my spiritual master sent out recently. It's a quote from one of Srila Prabhupada's lectures in Los Angeles, December 15th, 1973, a talk on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's interesting, so I'll read it. So it's entitled, "You Have Elected Him." Because Yudhishthira Maharaj himself was very pious, he conducted his government in such a way that people were also pious. Good. Yad archariti shreshta lokas tad anuvartate. Gita 3:21. If the leaders are perfect, then the citizens will be perfect. If the leaders are rascals, just like in your country, now your president is caught up. Just see. Such an exalted post is occupied by a person who is subjected to so many criticisms. Why? Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. That's a quote. Yeah. The king or the president, why he should be under suspicion? And if he is under suspicion, then immediately he should resign. Quote, "Oh, people are now suspecting, but this rascal will not resign." You see? Just see how much our leaders are polluted. He has been charged with so many things. Why he? Everyone is. He is weak, therefore he has been caught up. That's all. He is not so perfect diplomat. Otherwise he would have not been caught up. So the leaders must be perfect. Therefore, according to Vedic civilization, at least 3 persons in the society. First, the priest or the spiritual master who is engaged in teaching people about religiosity must be perfect, above suspicion. Similarly, the public leader must be above suspicion. A Brahmin means priest also, he must be above suspicion. And the king must be above suspicion. Then things will go on. But there's no such restriction. Nowadays, it is the days of vote. Any rascal, if he gets votes somehow or other, then he acquires the exalted post. That is also written in Srimad Bhagavatam, that in the Kali Yuga there will be no consideration who is fit to occupy the exalted post of president or royal throne. Simply somehow or other, by hook and crook, he'll occupy the seat. Therefore people are suffering. It is not, nowadays, democratic days, the government by the people, for the people. So if the government is by the people, yes, you select your representative. If you are a fool, then you will select another fool. So Bhagavat says, Svavid varaha ustrakara samustaha purusha pashu. Srimadbhagavatam 3:2-19. Anyone who's not a devotee, Krishna conscious devotee of God, then he may be in an exalted post, but he is praised by people who are exactly like Swa. Swa means dog, and Vidvaraha means pigs, who eat stool. And Ustra means camel, and Kara means ass, donkey. If a person who is not a devotee is praised or exalted, then the persons who are praising him must be among these animals: dog, camel, pig, ass, donkey. What is it? Yeah. Oh, it's 2:3:19. This is 3:2:19. Okay. It has to be changed. So the whole population is like that, like dog, like camel, like ass, and like Vidvaraha, pig, stool eater. The whole population at the present moment. So they must elect another big animal who is also in this category, because they have no knowledge. If you take votes from the camels, to whom he will vote? Another big camel, that's all. If you take votes from the dog, then whom he will elect? Another big dog. Therefore, anyone who is not a devotee of God, Krishna, he is either of these animals. And if he is praised, it is to be understood that he is being praised by a similar type of animal. So if we remain Svavidvarahastakara, then we must elect another big Svavidvarahastakara. So how there can be good situation of the state? It is not possible. Here you go, this is for you. Here you go. You're welcome, Hare Krishna. It's shedding. That's it. Hare Krishna. So how there can be good situation of the state? It is not possible. Therefore, the public must be educated so that they may not elect another big dog or big camel or big ass to the exalted post. It is the public's fault. Nowadays, it is democratic days, so why should you complain against such and such person or president? You have elected him, and now you find fault with him. It was your fault that you elected such a rascal. Svavidvahosta. It is very right conclusion. Srila Prabhupada talking Srimad Bhagavatam, Los Angeles, December 15, 1973. So, yeah, Srila Prabhupada is saying that, Srila Prabhupada is saying that people need to be educated. And if they're not educated, then yeah, it's nowadays, right, it's the days of democracy in which people vote people in. And if they're not educated, they'll vote the wrong person in. So anyways, the whole thing is topsy-turvy. So devotee, they are not, they have real knowledge, and therefore they know how to lead, and also they know how to follow. So it means in order to lead, you have to follow. You have to follow previous acharyas. So not only devotees, we should learn how to follow first and foremost, right? Follow the previous acharyas. And then we should lead. Now, in our lifetimes, we may not, take over the government or something like that. Be pretty nice. I mean, maybe some of us may have dreams of that when we're sleeping at night, taking over the government. But practically, it'll be very difficult. On a little point, my spiritual master, he was walking with Srila Prabhupada. I was just reading this recently, and they were in Juhu walking on the beach, and they would walk there every morning, a bunch of devotees, Prabhupada would talk with the devotees, and then Prabhupada, one morning, he said, when we take over the government, we'll go to people and we'll say, or we'll go to the government leaders and we'll say, chant Hare Krishna, or we'll kill you. And then, Prabhupada was saying in a very playfully, joking mood. And then all the devotees, they started laughing. A big group of devotees started laughing. And my spiritual master writes, perhaps he was the only one who wasn't laughing. He wasn't laughing. So then Prabhupada picked up on that. And Prabhupada, so he turned to him, he said, so Giriraj, what do you think? You think this is a good proposal? We'll go to them, we'll say, chant Hare Krishna will kill you. And then my spiritual master, he tried to muster up some enthusiasm. He said, yeah, Srila Prabhupada, we'll go to the government, we'll do that. And then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, our Giriraj, he's nonviolent, and then everybody started laughing. So, but we may not, take over the government in our lifetimes, but at least you could say within our own, we call it a government, but our own little society, or our society, ISKCON, we could try to be on the transcendental platform, as much as possible. And in this way, we ourselves will not be, you could say, our very selves won't be hijacked by material desire. And those who were trying to encourage or lead in Krishna consciousness, or help in Krishna consciousness, we could help them also in that regard, not be hijacked by material desires. So what's most important here out of all these things? That the survey? And we would say that most important thing is for people to become Krishna conscious, and then everything else follows. Yeah, for other. Maybe we'll type in, maybe we'll write, it's most important is that everybody, that you hold public festivals all over the United States, as many Rath Yatras as possible, and people chant Hare Krishna, and we distribute prasadam, profusely, and educate people on the principles of Bhagavad Gita, then everything, the whole world would change for the good. But Prabhupada tried that a few times, and a lot of these guys aren't so easy to budge, So, these things are, you could say, important in one sense, but if we become Krishna conscious, or the government becomes Krishna conscious, then everything will follow. So what you could say, how does that practically translate in our day-to-day lives? We ourselves could be Krishna conscious as far as possible, and then try to become educated, and then we could try to educate others. Because if we're not going to change the whole world in a very quick, way, we could do it person by person. Like if you're, someone like, George Harrison, gets up on stage and sings a song, My Sweet Lord, and, everybody hears Hare Krishna, and so many people become devotees. Even nowadays, some girl, she came to the last 2 Sunday feasts. She lives out there in La Mesa, like 30 minutes away, east. And I said, oh, how did you hear about the temple? She said, oh, I was listening to George Harrison. And I just decided to come to the temple. So, still. So, okay, if you're George Harrison, or, you have some type of influence like that, you may be able to affect more people at a time, but if whatever the case is, we could try to help, on a one-on-one basis, so individuals. And we never know who that individual may be. You give a book, and maybe he's the next biggest guru to grace the planet or something. Biggest Krishna conscious guru. So you never know who you're going to inspire. Just like that, those devotees up in, where was that? In Rupanuga Prabhu, he had this class on Bhagavad Gita in Buffalo, in America. And he had this class, and so many devotees came from, like really good devotees. Praladananda Swami, Gunagrahi Swami came from there, Borijan Prabhu, Trivikram Swami, all these Bhagavan, all these really, Bibi Govinda Swami, all these really good devotees came from just this small Bhagavad Gita course. Buffalo was like, wow, so fortunate. Course. Yeah, course in the university. Yeah, it was amazing. So, imagine if you were to hold some preaching program or something, and then from that, 10 solid Like devotees who've been devotees for the last, decades. They're still, and they themselves did so much service. I mean, amazing. So you never know. So, okay. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes.
For Lauren.
Okay.
You're in school?
I'm in school.
Okay. What is it, SDSU? Yeah. So, one of the things that I was reading about is that there's a lot of anxiety, and of course it's pretty obvious from young people about the future, because you've got climate change, you've got incipient fascism in America, and you've got all of these things. Like when I was growing up, you could kind of have, well, there's a future, I'm going to get a job, and get 40 years, 50 years, something. But now, because in Krishna consciousness, kind of, that's blown away, because you know that, well, we all have futures. Even if, after death, there's a future. This is just, so it's kind of, it loses its edge in one sense, although it's still pretty apocalyptic. It's still pretty, scary how things are going to happen. So do you find that in the people in your school, and how do you deal with it? You seem pretty even keeled because you're Krishna conscious.
I don't really like most people that go to my school. I think I heard some fact that like depression and like suicide and anxiety is prevalent in most college kids.
It's increased
Yeah,
over the years. Yeah.
it's like the highest targets of suicide is from college kids, I think, or depression.
Under a lot of anxiety, stress.
Yeah, lots of anxiety about finals,
Yeah, and then
grades,
I get the degree, I have to
grad
do that,
school,
get a job, right?
debt, job. Yeah. I personally don't have any of that anxiety because I'm not trying to get a job and live in the material world after college. I'm trying to move into the temple after college. A temple. I don't know what temple yet, but so I'm not too worried about that.
Well, maybe you can tell others about how you're escaping the same.
Yeah, well, Vaishnava Das, he's starting a club at my school.
Who is it?
Vaishnava Das,
Oh, okay.
he's starting a club at SDSU, like a bhakti club.
Yeah.
It's starting this semester,
So he's a
so in
teacher.
like a week or two. He's a grad student. Yeah, and Ace is in it, and 2 other people that go here are in it. Christian's in it, and one other, like 5 of us.
Yeah, that's great.
So we're gonna start that at SDSU this year.
I can have some of the effect you're talking about this class that you have, to be right there in the school.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
part of the school.
Yeah, and we could of course bring some of the brahmacharis to give talks when we have meetings.
Yeah, yeah. You and I will try that.
Yeah. Jai.
Okay. That's how you're dealing with it. Thank you.
You have a question? Comment?
Horrible. When me and Jamal went out the other day to Miracosta, I met this student. He took some books. He studied political science, and I was just asking him how he likes it. And he's like, I was into it at first, but then I realized it's not really for me. And I said, why not? He said, I don't want to become a professional liar.
That's pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting that he
You
said
don't want to be
that.
a professional liar. Yeah. Yeah, it's so important that devotees try to, extend themselves to whatever degree they can and, show some compassion, mercy for people, because people, like nowadays in Kali Yuga, people are very disturbed. I mean, that's what the Bhagavatam says. Manda sumanda matiyo manda bhagya parjuta, right? Unfortunate, disturbed, and so many difficult things they're dealing with. So devotees, because they're chanting Hare Krishna, because they're, worshiping the sun, right, of Mother Yashoda, they're not feeling the blazing fire of Kali Yuga. So, devotees are, at least to some degree, transcendental to all that. And it's important that devotees kind of extend, but they extend that mercy, because, people are really disturbed and they need help. Like recently, there's a lounger, he comes to the lounge, and young guy, probably in his 20s, and he told me that he went to Bhagavatsaptaha's house program one time, and he brought two of his friends. One was Harrison, which I call him Hari's son. You know, that's what Prabhupada called George Harrison, Hari's son. Harrison and his girlfriend, and then this other guy, Austin, he came. And Austin brought his friend. And, his friend had like a troubled upbringing, but he was really enjoying the kirtan. He was really enjoying the kirtan. He was really enjoying the prasadam. He really liked the prasadam. I mean, he went back like 3 times having the prasadam. So, young guy, big appetite. So, but somehow or other, the guy, he really struggled with heroin addiction. He was like really into heroin. Oh, not Austin, his friend. Yeah, his friend, who Austin brought to this Bhaktivatsal's house. And he couldn't kick the habit. And he fell into association, like his mother said, oh, come, live up with me in Fresno. Fresno's like, there's a lot of heroin there, and kids find it boring there. There's not much to do. It's a small town, hot, Fresno. I mean, what are you going to do? And somehow or other, the mother's boyfriend, or the husband, his stepfather, was an addict of heroin. So it was a really foolish, choice there. So this kid, he fell into bad association. And yeah, recently Austin was telling me he just, apparently by accident, he OD'd. And, it was Austin's like best friend, since he was like 2, and they have all these pictures surfing with their kids and hanging out. And Austin was trying to encourage the kid to come back down to SanDiego and, hey, spend some time with me. It's bad up there in Fresno. Come on down. And then, it didn't work out. So Austin, he said he's been going through some challenging times and, other things in his life. But, the point is that this guy who was addicted to heroin and, had such a thing happen to him, he needed some extra, you could say, he needed some extra mercy, some extra kindness. And I don't want to say it's devotees' fault for, not reaching out to all those people or anything like that, but maybe he still would have, had that happen to him. But the point is, you could help people. That's the thing. You could help people. You can make a difference. Just like Srila Prabhupada. Devotees say that Prabhupada, that he made such a big life change in my life. I would have been in dead, or I would have been in jail, or you could say maybe in less dramatic terms, I would have just been really unsatisfied with my life, So devotees feel that. Disciples of Srila Prabhupada feel that, yes, Srila Prabhupada, he saved me. So similarly, devotees, they could also, you could say save people in the sense that we don't want to be like, modern day messiahs or something going out there and, hey, I'm the Messiah, I've come to save you, and, let me pray, I'm going to bless you right now, offer you some prayers, and because you're such a, heathen rascal or something. But the thing is, devotees we have some power to actually assist in saving these people. So if we could try to help, that would be good. All right, I don't know if that's exactly a positive note, kind of, but okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam